Yo, what's up, Hundo? What's up, winning shot family? We are knee deep in the NBA playoffs, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. Tomorrow is the NBA draft lottery. This is literally going to change a couple of franchises' entire trajectory. Man, Hundo, like we've gotten through the first round of the playoffs, and now we're in the second round of playoffs. Like, how you feeling thus far about your Knicks? I'm still sad about the Celtics, but how you feeling about these playoffs as a whole?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. Glad the Knicks are here and thriving. They decided to show up uh, to close out Atlanta, put a beating on them, sent them boys packing. And then 76ers, they ain't been hitting on nothing, getting beat up on. So it's looking good right now for the Knicks, man. We gonna see what happened, man. We should close out this series relatively soon and be heading back to the Eastern Conference Finals, probably against Detroit. So we'll see, man. But exciting basketball, exciting times, man. Good time to be a Knicks fan for sure.
Okay, so as a Knicks fan, y'all went to the conference finals last year, and it seems like y'all going to the conference finals again. If y'all go to the conference finals, I think y'all a better team than Detroit. So is the firing with Thibodeau justified? And if y'all make the finals and don't win it, is it still justified or not?
Um, I honestly don't think the man should have been fired. Me personally. Um, so I'm not gonna sit here and say that it was still justified, but I mean, Mike Brown has some big shoes to fill. Like that was at least the bar of getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you fired the coach from making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, even though you didn't win it. So I mean, the goal is championships at this point. Like anything less than that, I mean, it's gonna look bad on him. But I mean, I'm glad that we're here. We're in this position. Um, we gonna see what happened as far as the finals, and but I'm not looking past Detroit just yet. I'm not looking past them just yet because they're gonna be tough.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot that I want to get into today with the playoffs, but I want to kind of start with some like off the court action. So recently in the news, there has been a spat with Draymond Green and Austin Rivers. Um, Austin Rivers, as we know, was one of the greatest high school players in my lifetime. Had one of the greatest, high school mixtapes, and he got into it with Draymond, just talking about the efficacy of Draymond's career because Draymond went out and said that Steve Kerr held him back in terms of being a scorer because he was talking about he was a scorer in high school and college, and when he came into the NBA, he had to play more of a role for obviously Steph and Clay, but he felt like within Steve Kerr's coaching scheme that he was held back as a scorer because he's just known as a defender. And Austin Rivers took offense to that and went on his podcast and was talking about how Draymond was actually blessed to be in that situation, and so there was a lot of back and forth action happening. Draymond said that he was the biggest bailout in NBA history because Austin obviously got signed. I think I don't know if it was the Bucks, but under his dad and got that $40 million contract. Um, and so I just kind of wanted to get your take on this because I feel like when you look at it from different perspectives, like Austin Rivers obviously disappointed in terms of his professional career, but we can't deny what he was at Duke and what he was in high school. So I'm curious to know your take on this, especially, as this beef continues to progress.
I honestly don't care, bro. Like, not, I'm not gonna lie to you. I honestly don't care, bro. I don't know, bro. From Draymond's perspective, it's like, bro, if you really felt that way about Steve Kerr and your career, bro, like I'm sure you had opportunities to leave. So why didn't you leave? Like I hate when people get on podcasts and talk
Yeah,
about what could have been and like what could have happened and how my career could have been. Bro, you had opportunities to leave. If you really felt that way and you felt like you could have been an offensive whatever option, top option, bro, leave. You had plenty of opportunities to leave,
Mm,
bro. So just leave, and if it don't work out, you can always come back. I've
yeah,
never been into that from whether it's current players or former players talking about, oh, I could have signed as such and such, but I decided to go this way, bro. I don't care, bro. I truly don't care.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you. Like, I don't think it's like significant in terms of like, basketball news, but I do think it's like I agree with you in terms of how NBA players a lot of times they look retrospectively and they think their career could have been much better than it was. And like timing is a big thing in the NBA because we know that there's been some great people. Like look at a Charles Barkley who went to Phoenix and then had to go to Houston. And you look at like Michael Jordan and some of these players that got on good teams with good organizations like a Phil Jackson, and their careers took two different turns. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't talented, and we're not denying that Draymond's wasn't talented. Like I believe he was one of the top high school, college players that, I've seen in my career. I mean, my, time watching basketball. But like he did get blessed going to the Golden State Warriors. Like we're not gonna deny that. Like I think that if he went to any other team, he would have been an elite defender. But it's kind of like the whole Dennis Rodman thing. Like Dennis Rodman would have been gone down as a very elite defender and rebounder in Detroit. But when he went to Chicago, he turned into Dennis Rodman. I think the same thing is true with Draymond. It's like he could have gone to New Orleans. He could have gone to Charlotte and took a big contract. But I think we would have been looking at him a lot more like a Dyson Daniels than we would have like a Hall of Famer, with Golden State. And so I I just feel like there's been a lot of slander on Steve Kerr's name. And while I think that in this later half of his career, Steve Kerr definitely made some, bad decisions along with the front office and organizationally. But we're not going to deny like where they went from Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr definitely turned the dynasty. And Draymond was a benefactor of a lot of the greatness from Steph and Clay. So I just don't know what he's looking for and trying to get out of this with, deep. And I think from Austin Rivers' perspective, Austin Rivers has a job, because he's a media member to like kind of go back on what Draymond was saying. But I think to talk about Austin Rivers in terms of his high school and college performance, I'm like, man, we forget that just because you made it to the NBA, and you might be sitting on the bench, that doesn't mean that you weren't cold in high school and college. And I feel like if you put the resumes together, you can definitely put Austin Rivers like at the top when it comes to high school and college resumes, in my opinion,
Yeah,
compared to Draymond.
And even Rivers, he talked about it. He was like, "Yeah, I did it on a national level. I did it on the national scene in high school." He was like, "Yeah, our numbers might have been similar, but like he was playing against some of the top teams in the country on ESPN weekly, like like you said, like one of the best mixed high school mixtapes, one of the top players coming out of high school into college, and he only spent, like he said, 6 months at Duke." So I mean, yeah, yeah, we'll see, but yeah.
Yeah,
I don't really care too much about this, but I will say too, like if you're Draymond, like I always say this, is like know your role and excel in it. Like, bro, it's okay that you were this defensive stopper, Hall of Famer. Like, bro, that's okay. Like, you don't have to live in a false reality of okay, I could have probably been a better offensive player, bro. Just stand in your greatness, bro. You're an all-time great defender, bro. Like just stand in that, bro, and that's perfectly fine, bro. Nobody's talking trash about Draymond and slandering his name. Like you brought this upon yourself, talking about what you could have
yeah,
did and Steve Kerr holding you back. Now everybody's going at you.
yeah. And I think that Draymond is looking at these last couple of years as like a tarnishing to his legacy. But I think when people look back 20 years, 15 years from now, they're gonna remember Steph, Clay, and Draymond. Like Draymond's legacy is cemented, and I feel like he's still trying to prove something. Which and on the court, it makes him a great defender, having that chip on his shoulder. But I feel like to say that Steve Kerr held you back is just like, what is the alternative? Would you have rather been a decent scorer, and an average defender on a sorry team. It's like, no, you leaned into what you were good at, and even in your role, like a Tony Allen, Avery Bradley, like one of like two of the greatest defenders, in my time watching basketball, is like I'm sure Tony Allen could go and get 20 somewhere. I'm sure Avery Bradley could have done the same, but it's like they lean into their strength, and now they're cemented in the basketball pantheon. And so that's why I'm just like, Draymond wants to be involved in those conversations of the greatest of all time, and I feel like in his niche he is. But like in that larger conversation, like you said, just play your role, and you always be remembered.
Yeah, and then this man went on ESPN talking about Charles Barkley, talking about
Yeah.
doggone, yeah, he doesn't want his career to end like Charles Barkley in Houston Rockets jersey. I'm just like, bro, like somebody had a tweet and it was like Charles Barkley was actually hooping in Houston.
Was
Like,
cold,
I was like, well, you got a point there.
bro. Like averaging 14 and 10. Like I went back and looked at the stats because like I'm thinking that Charles was just a bench writer in those years. No, Charles was actually hooping. He was actually Draymond.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. And like I guess segue into that, like just briefly, where do you feel like the Warriors are as a franchise? I mean, like even with Butler being out a majority of next season too, a majority of their roster is injured, and then you're bringing back that roster with Steph and Draymond again, and it's like, where do you go from here? And there was even reports that Steve Kerr might step down. I'm just curious to know like what you think about the dynasty and where you think the Warriors go from here.
All good things must come to an end. Plain and simple. Like at some point you gotta move on. Whether that's I don't think they're gonna like trade Steph or anything, but like Draymond can definitely go. If Steve Kerr doesn't want to coach, I've been seeing mixed things about that. It's like Draymond saying he want to coach. It don't really sound like he really want to coach for real. Everybody talking about it might be over. Bro, what do you want to do? Do you want to coach or not? Do you want to coach in Golden State or not?
Hmm.
Like, bro, just move on. Like, let's not prolong this. Let's not keep putting the band-aid over it. Rip the band-aid off.
Yeah,
Time to move on. But I think they should keep Curry. Hopefully, Jimmy Butler's getting up there in age, but hopefully he can come back and give them something. But they got to start to get younger pieces and some pieces that they can either move or bring in that can help and shape the years to come. Because you're only getting older.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I feel like this is what happens to every dynasty. It never ends well. Like everybody thinks that there is a little bit more juice in the cup, and it's like, no, just throw it away. Just throw it away. And I feel like for the Warriors now, it's going to be harder and harder to pivot as these pieces get older. Because even when your young pieces get older and get these new contracts, it's going to be harder to move them. And so I feel like with Steph right now, I think Steph still has, you know, some wear and tear in him. And but I just don't. I think you're wasting your time doing it with the Warriors because what are we fighting for? Playing? Because every team that you see in the West is young. So these teams are going to just continue to get better. And then you have some teams that weren't in the playoffs, or even like the Rockets, who were disappointing. They're going to figure it out. I think in the offseason they're going to make some moves, and you still have some young pieces that can still be dynamic. And it's like, what are we doing here? I feel like the NBA has been promoting the Steph and LeBron rivalry for so long, and it's like we're still holding on to old memories at this point. And the fact that the LeBron Steph rivalry seems old just shows you where the NBA is now. And running it back is just it is disappointing, but it also is just like you get to a point where you start not to care about the Warriors. And I never thought in my basketball, fandom that I'll ever feel that way.
And like to your point too, like when you look at pretty much, I would probably say outside of like the Kings, maybe Memphis, depending on what happens with Ja. But like everybody has movable pieces, like young pieces per se.
Yeah.
Like The Warriors don't have any young movable pieces. Like maybe Pods, but like, what are you getting for him? So it's like you have to try to figure out some young pieces to either move or you have to move your star guys, whether that's Steph, Draymond, Jimmy, and start over that way. Because, like I said, a lot of these other teams have younger pieces that they can at least move and make changes. You talked about the Rockets. They have several young pieces that they can move to go make a splash and try to get over the hump. The Warriors don't necessarily have that unless you plan on trading some of them stars. So even then, with them being older now, late 30s, what are you getting for them?
Yeah, and you made a point earlier when we were talking about the whole Giannis conversation. Like, even if the Warriors pulled it off and traded like a Giannis to to Golden State and it was just Steph and Giannis, that still is not enough. Like, it would be a huge upgrade, but like, I feel like where both are in terms of their age, this is not 2015, 2016. This is not these guys in their primes where, you know, LeBron can take a Matthew Dellavedova and go to the finals. It's like these guys are still old. They're dealing with injuries, and the NBA has changed. It's not going to be as simple to build super teams with this new, curtain. And like even the sorry teams in the West, what if the Kings end up getting a top three pick, as we'll discuss later? What if, some of these teams, even with the young pieces, what if Derek Queen takes a step up and Fierce takes a step up? Like that's another team in that 8, 9 range that you have to worry about. And it starts to feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers, where it's like, are we competing for a winning season and mediocrity, or should we just suck and then, you know, get a top pick for the 2027, 2028 draft?
And that's one thing that we've seen, I guess, from this Warriors organization throughout the years. Like even that year when Steph was out pretty much all year, and I think they ended up with a lottery pick. But like, when do you decide to make that change to either tank and be sorry, like you said, or are we just competing for play-ins? Like, at some point, you got to either be sorry or you got to make a drastic change with via trade. You
Yeah,
got So at some point, it's not a matter of if, but when will they decide to move on from this uh dynasty era, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So let's go away from speaking about the irrelevant teams, but let's talk about the relevant teams in the playoffs right now. Um, so we'll start in the Eastern Conference. The Cavs beat the Raptors in 7 games. Um, and they looked shaky in that first round, and it seemed like that same lack of energy translated over to the second round, where they're now down 2-0 and hope not to go down 3-0 versus the Detroit Pistons. So I guess looking at the series, everybody's been like, "Oh, it's been disappointing with the Cavs," but this is kind of what I expected. I knew at some point James Harden was going to not show up in the playoffs, and I feel like with the dynamics of this team, like one of the people that I don't think people are talking about, and he gets a pass every year, is Evan Mobley, because he's getting paid like a max guy, but in terms of criticism, he only gets criticism like a role player. And I feel like in terms of taking over, he just doesn't have that takeover gene. Um, but like, what are your thoughts on, number one, what you saw coming out of this Raptor series, but also two, what you're seeing now versus the Pistons?
Yeah, I thought the Cavaliers was gonna take care of the Raptors relatively easy. I didn't expect it to go 7 games in all honesty. But it did. And I'm glad that they actually made it out the first round because had they not made it out the first round, yeah, it, everybody would have been on their head for sure. Um, but I think to your point with Mobley, it's like when you're playing with these stars with Donovan Mitchell and Harden, like technically you're a third option, despite what you're getting paid. Like technically he's the third option. So that's probably why he's getting glossed over and nobody's really paying them too much attention because you have these dynamic guards in Spider and James Harden that everybody's looking to be like, oh, they both can get 30 and win a game by themselves.
Mhm.
It hasn't happened yet. At least against the Pistons, it hasn't happened yet. So that's probably why he's not getting too much of the blame. But I mean, I feel like he's putting up decent numbers as a third option. But I mean, I feel like he's probably ready to be that second type option.
Yeah.
So I mean, until he gets that opportunity to really truly be a top option, I mean, I don't think he's gonna get too much criticism.
Yeah. So I just saw a tweet that said James Harden finished game two with 10 points on 3 of 13 shooting, including 2 points in the second half. This is his 20th playoff game in which he shot 25% or less. But what is it? Let's say maybe they get a gentleman sweep or one with Detroit. What's James Harden's legacy to you? Because he's on the back half of his career, another playoff disappointment. In terms of like where you see him legacy wise, what do you think where James Harden is now in terms of a player? What are your thoughts on James?
Um, I would probably put him, top five shooting guard all time still. I would say. I think the way his career has turned out, I mean, it's probably not the success he has wanted in the playoffs, but I mean, when I think about Harden, I'm thinking about his ability to score, his ability to facilitate those Rocket years when he decided to leave OKC. He was dynamic. He was top of the league. And then the way he's rejuvenated his career in a sense and being a facilitator has been big these last couple of years. So I mean, yeah, from a postseason standpoint, he hasn't, like I said, he hasn't had the success that he's wanted and individual player success that he's probably wanted. But I mean, I still think he's a top five shooting guard all time.
So, not to put you on the spot, but give me your five.
Kobe,
Okay,
Wade, I will probably put Harden up there. I'm sure I'm missing somebody right now.
Jordan.
Um, oh yeah, Jordan, of course. um, who else am I missing?
AI, maybe. Do you consider him a shooting guard?
Eh, I mean, I guess I'll throw him up there, like AI. But I mean, like, I feel like Harden is in that conversation with AI. Like, it's
Yeah,
like 4 or 5. Like, I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but still, like, I feel like he's top five.
yeah. I think I have the same list. I mean, I wasn't around even with Jordan, but even with Jared West, so I can't really put him on my list. But yeah, I would go Michael Kobe, um, B Wade, and then yeah, I would probably you could switch between AI and Harden. I feel like in my lifetime, like I didn't really get to see much of like the Drexlers and whatnot, but I think even in Harden's prime with Houston, what he was doing, he was constantly getting those 30 points, per game. And really, like when you look back on it, he didn't have any help. Like I think he had, Chris Paul. Obviously, Chris Paul gets injured, but it was a lot of Daniel House, Ryan Anderson, not scrubs, but those are not guys that you consider as second options. So yeah, I'll put Harden up there. I just feel like I don't know what it is. It's like maybe, people are talking about how he relies on the whistle, in the regular season, how you don't get that whistle in the playoffs, but it's been really disappointing. I think in terms of an all disappointing team, all disappointing player, and maybe we can say this with the squad, James Harden is definitely high on my list because I think his game and what we were seeing, it was before the Lucas, before the case. He was kind of doing some of the same stuff, but like I feel like they're gonna get a lot more praise when you look back on it because of their postseason success and their finals runs potentially.
We'll see. We'll see. Because I mean, they haven't done anything.
Luka went to the finals, and Kate might go to the finals this year.
But I'm talking about as far as winning. Like, you still got to win at the end of the day. Like, that's cool that you got to the finals, but like, you got to win. I mean, shoot, James Harden got to the finals with the Thunder. At the end of the day, if you don't win nothing, bro, like, I'm that Cool, you got to the finals. Who remembers the losers?
Yeah.
You were second place. You didn't win anything. You don't get a prize for second place.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think that's why, we put Dwayne Wade over Harden. Because I think if we're talking just basketball, I think Harden is a better player than D Wade. But I feel like we saw what he did in the finals with Shaq. And that was probably the best finals performance ever. And so that's why I think he's still up there. Um,
I
but
don't know, but like I don't know because like when you look at it this year specifically, like
okay.
as far as Harden and like the Cavaliers, like yes, like the Cavaliers as a team, they disappointed in the regular season. They didn't play as good as people expected. But did anybody really expect them to beat Detroit in this series? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like everybody has been waiting, like you just said, everybody's waiting for Harden to mess up. Everybody's waiting on him to have a bad game. Nobody's expecting him to go out there and do anything crazy and lead them to a victory. So, like in the same breath of like we criticize him, like, did we really expect him to win?
Bro, yeah. Bro, you look at the roster,
Huh?
the
Detroit been the top
Cleveland,
seed all year.
bro, we were literally talking in the chat how we felt like they were the weakest one seed in NBA history. Like,
Y'all see
even
that.
y'all,
Y'all
but I'm just saying the majority of people believe that. Like, if you look at the roster from top to bottom, you can argue Cleveland has a much better roster than Detroit. Like, yes, they have Cade and Durant, but like you've got Mobley, you got Spider, you got Allen, you got Harden. Like, you got
okay. Okay, so what's the problem?
I feel like I said, I feel like part of it is Mobley not stepping up and having that takeover gene, but also too, I think Harden disappears in the playoffs, and we have all acknowledged that. And Spiders had some stinkers too, especially in the regular series. So we when they traded it for Harden, then they got Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder. People are definitely in chat like, okay, like at least the Cavs can be formidable. We did not expect them to get swept by Detroit. Like, no, I'm not going to buy that. We definitely thought Cleveland was up there in the East.
Mm. Well, series ain't over yet, so we'll see. I feel like they've had their moments. They just can't pull away. The games haven't
And I think that's
necessarily
why you
been
brought Harden
blowouts.
in.
Huh?
I said that's why I think you brought Harden in because what's the difference between this roster that's currently constructed and what you had with Darius Garland? It's the same thing. I think
It is.
James Harden's a little.
It is. But look, Spider gotta do his too. Mobley gotta do his too. It ain't just all on Harden.
It just that's
Y'all
been the.
first of all, why y'all looking to Harden to be the hero? We know what he do in the playoffs.
That's fair. So it's like, why did you trade for him? But I don't know. It's beyond me, my pay grade.
I will say though, like I have liked how Asar Thompson has been hooping, bro. Like he's been playing at a very high level. Um Defensive end, getting to the dunker spot, getting inside. If he can get a jump shot, him and his brother, if they can get a jump shot, it's a wrap for the league. It's a wrap for the league. I'm telling you. They just need to go this summer, straight jump shots. Literally, that's it. Straight jump shots. I don't want them doing nothing else. Jump shots.
Yeah, but I feel like we've been saying that for the last 2 years. Like
Brother,
that's
brother, brother.
what
He might be dedicated on this playoff run to get in the lab and start shooting. They making a deep run right now. They get to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals, and doggone he get exposed for not having a jump shot. He gonna get in that lab this summer. I promise you.
okay. It's a lot of ifs. Um,
I'll
yeah,
add
I
another
think
if. I'll add another if while we talking about ifs. If he's able to shoot 30 something percent from three, mid 30s, them boys gonna be scary next year.
Yeah, but I mean, you you don't. I think some of it is just the energy that they have to expend on the defensive end is why, they're so poor shooting. But also too, it's like you just don't turn into a great shooter overnight. Like I think you are just what you are, and you just have to kind of adjust because I think next year we're gonna be like, man, if they just had a jump shot, they'll take over the league. Like at some
Hey,
point, you just are what you are.
hey, his numbers have improved. Rookie year, 18% from three. Second year, 22% from three. Third year, 25% from three. Hey, in 2 years, he gonna be shooting over 30%.
2 years, and he can also regress too. So let's also put that on the table. Um, but I feel like with uh the scary thing about Detroit is like Duran's not even like hooping yet, and they're still working the Cavs. So I'm curious to know like what if everybody's fully healthy, everybody's playing peak basketball, what Detroit could be because we know they're going to bring it on the defensive end. But I feel like Detroit is one of those teams where you know Duran is going to get paid. The question is going to be how much, and I think also too, Detroit needs another scorer, and it's like, what do you do with Tobias? Because Tobias is hooping now. Like, what is that piece going to be in this offseason? Because I think that they can compete versus the Knicks. I just don't know if they have enough or the depth to win a series versus the Knicks. Um, but I think this series is really going to be an evaluator for like what kind of moves do you need to make in order to bolster this roster.
I don't know, bro. Like, I feel like they have enough to beat the Knicks. If Tobias is hooping how he's been hooping these past few games with a SARS defense, I don't know. I don't know who we're going to put on Cade. OG already has a hamstring injury. It wouldn't surprise me if they beat the Knicks, bro.
Well, I'm saying that contingent upon like Knicks being fully healthy, like OG being back. Like I just
But
don't
see,
think.
like I still have concerns about the Knicks, bro. Like you still don't know what team is going to show up, especially
Yeah.
against a healthy Detroit team. Like we're beating up on the 76ers who are not healthy.
Mhm.
Let's just put it like that. They are not healthy. They are not 100%. And B's not 100%. He didn't even play in game 2. So I mean, if he's fully healthy, this is a different series.
Yeah, but I think the reason why you went and trade all those picks for Michael, you got OG, you got Cat, you got Brunson, so you're 4 deep. Then you have, a Mitchell Robinson who can at least, be durable down low. Like then you on the other side you have Cade, you have Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, Asar. Sure, I'm missing somebody. Like you have your Duncan Robinson, Kevin Huerter, and Karis LeVert. Bro, you put roster to roster, bro. The Knicks, it shouldn't be close. I'm sorry.
You keep
Knicks have
saying it
way.
shouldn't be close, but like, bro, they have shown you that
That's
they
true.
will not show up, bro.
That's true. That's
Bro,
true.
you killing me with this, bro. Like they literally just went what 6, 7 games with the Hawks, and that shouldn't have been the case.
Yeah. Nah, if y'all lose this series, it will be way more disappointing because it's like this was the thing with Thibodeau. You got all the way here, and now you decide not to show up. This has to be an all timer from Brunson, an all timer from Cat to remove any kind of slander. But you're right. I'm trying to give y'all the benefit of the doubt because I feel like we were going to be the toughest challenge for y'all. But like, and even a fully healthy 76ers, I thought would have been like more formidable and like a tougher competition. But obviously, they're going through injuries and, shooting wise, they kind of fell flat in the fourth game, too. But if y'all lose to the Pistons, I'm not like trying to, put the Pistons down. It's just like, I just don't think the Pistons are ready. They just don't have another scorer. And it's like, you're letting Tobias get what, 23, 24 points and he has to guard Cat. That's embarrassing. Like, and you're going to have like obviously Detroit's gonna have home court advantage, but that shouldn't be an excuse. It's like, man, we have a better roster, and you traded, well, not traded, but you let go of Thibodeau for this reason because you thought Mike Brown could take all over the hump. Y'all don't even get to the finals again, and it ends the same way. You got to blow the team up.
I mean, yeah, you might have to. It is what it like. I don't agree with the firing to start. So,
Yeah,
like you said, like if you don't get to the finals, I mean, you already made the coaching change. What you gonna fire another coach the next year, or you gonna make some moves and make some trades? But I will say, I'm telling you this right now, bro. If we lose, it's gonna be because of Jalen Brunson and how he plays. Everybody's praising him right now. He's playing good. He's 30 points, 8 assists, blase, blase. But when it comes down to the wire, the play calling, the ISO ball, we're gonna see what happens. That's all I'm gonna say.
I hear you.
The same way we praising them right now is gonna be the same way we're gonna be killing them when they lose. Oh, bro, he need to be passing the ball. People were saying it in the Hawk series. Oh, bro, he need to pass the ball. He need to pass the ball. Now that he's scoring, nobody's saying anything.
Yeah. Mm, I hear you. I just, obviously you're more intertwined with the Knicks fandom than I am, but like, I don't know. This is the easiest path that y'all have had to me. And if y'all don't get it done this year, like, it's time to make some major moves.
But still, and you asked me this yesterday or the other day, who would you rather see coming out the West? And it's just like, bro, like I don't think we match up good with either one of those teams. Whether that's the Thunder or the Spurs. So it's like even if we do get to the finals, we're probably not going to win.
For sure. But I guess like my thing was, I guess in this conversation, the hump has to be making it to the finals because y'all haven't made it to the East in however long. So it's like I think if y'all get to the finals and actually compete, like I think the Knicks fans would be semi happy because it gives you a building block to work towards next year. But like if y'all get embarrassed by the Detroit Pistons, like the Detroit Pistons like the Cleveland, I feel like then there would be a lot more fire. I don't think Knicks fans would be too because I feel like Knicks fans understand what's happening in the West. Like both of those teams are like juggernauts compared to the Knicks. Because any of those series, I'm taking that team in the West. But I don't think the
Okay, but like even to your point though, like let's just say they do get to the finals, okay, and they lose to whoever comes out the West. What do you do?
that's the
Like
thing.
what literal moves could they make to literally get over the hump to beat those Western Conference teams next year? Because you get into the finals, you keep losing, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I think you would have to highly consider Giannis. I don't know what it's gonna take, but I'm just saying like because it's been so long, I think Knicks fans would just be happy to get there. To me, like I don't necessarily
Like
know if y'all have
like
to win.
like I told you when we were talking about them other dudes getting to the finals. The goal is to win.
It is.
At the end of the day, the goal is to win. I'm not satisfied getting to the finals as a Knicks fan, and we keep losing. At some point, you want to win. What is it
Yeah.
going to take to win? And like you said, I don't know what it's going to take to get Giannis, but even if we do get Giannis, is that enough to win?
Well, it depends on what you do. Like, because I mean, obviously, it's going to require some other moves. Um, the thing is, I just don't know how the dynamic between Giannis and JB is going to work because, surprisingly, both of them were ball dominant players. So I think it's kind of going to mess up the offensive flow. And who do you retain? Because I'm sure Cat will have to be a part of the deal. Maybe OG. Um, So is it just going to be Giannis, Michael, and JB? What does the money look like? Because both of them are going to be on max contracts, and then you have Michael, who is, I think, on a max or supposed to it. And then it's like, what else? You still got Mitchell Robinson, maybe. So yeah, you're right. I just think it's going to have to be strategic on the Knicks front office to keep good pieces and picks, but not sacrifice gutting your entire roster. Just be honest. So I don't know. I don't know what that looks like because I think even with Giannis's championship run, like yeah, Giannis was great. You know, he scored that 50 points versus Phoenix, but it's like you need your Chris Middletons and your Drew Holidays because those are the unspoken players that kind of help you to get over the hump. And you know, I don't know if you can make that trade and get a Drew Holiday from Portland. Um, so I don't know, and I think fundamentally it has to be Giannis's team. I don't think Jalen Brunson can be the number one piece and Giannis can be the sidekick.
Good luck.
So, so there had to be a humble conversation that has to be had.
Yeah, good luck with that.
And that's the issue. It's like
That's all I can tell you.
so. Okay, before we like move to the West, let's talk about the one team we haven't talked about is the 76ers. So um, have been injury depleted. You made a move to trade away McCain because I'm sure that they're saying their backcourt future is going to be Maxi and VJ. Have some decent pieces to surround them with, but it looks like this is about to be a sweep. What do you do if you are the Philadelphia 76ers going into the offseason?
I mean, I feel like you probably have to think about either moving Embiid or Paul George or both, right? Um, at this point, I mean, I'm not getting rid of VJ or Tyrese. Um, so I those are the first two that I'm thinking about or looking at. But like we talked about before, it's like what does a package look like for either one of those players? Like Embiid has been banged up. Paul George still could play at a high level as he's shown since his return from his suspension. But what does packages look like for either of those players? Um, but I mean, I feel like you said, I feel like their backcourt is solidified with VJ and Tyrese. Tyrese has shown to be an all-star caliber guard. VJ has been hooping, although he's been struggling shooting the ball these past few games. Um, you hope that he takes those next steps in the years to come, similar to how Maxi did. But we'll see. I mean, I'm looking, like I said, I'm looking at Embiid and I'm looking at Paul George. And I'm looking at trying to move them.
Yeah, I feel like Paul George has to step into like a Tobias Harris role now because like I think he can still give quality minutes, but he can't be the focal point of any offense. I'm saying that to say like Boston was lucky because they found a sucker with the Brooklyn Nets to get off of KG and Paul Pierce and still get, boatload of picks. I don't know if we'll see that again, but that's what I'm thinking with Embiid. You need a team that is fighting for relevance, that and Embiid coming to the organization, would put butts in the seats, not necessarily contending. I'm thinking like even like a Sacramento, like having Embiid is not like a clear step up, but it definitely will like I think bring a little bit of relevance back to Sacramento. Um, because I don't think Embiid can be a backup big at this point in his career. Um, because I just feel like with his contract,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say with his contract and just like who he is as a semi-star, I don't think he's willing to accept that role. He's not in the Andre Drummond phase of his career yet. I think mentally.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie to you. If they trade him to Sacramento, he might as well retire. I wouldn't go to
That's
play
what I'm
there.
saying.
So it's gonna be interesting to see what team decides to pull the trigger. But I feel like the biggest factor is just like his health. Bro, I'm not giving up all my future assets to get him, bro. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it would have to be a team like I don't know. Somebody that's just looking for, I guess, a starting center, bro. Like that can be a piece because I'm not relying on him to play 80 something games or 70 something or 60 something games. Like I don't think he's at that point in his career where he's just going to be able to play that many games right now. I can't hear you. Mm-mm. My brother having technical difficulties. Time to upgrade that device, brother. Nope, can't hear you. I'm reading your lips. But yeah, man, I was just saying, it's gonna be interesting to see what team decides to pull the trigger because it's health, man. Like you just don't know what you're gonna get from them from a game to game, season to season basis. And if I'm a team looking to add him potentially, I'm not giving up all my younger pieces to get Joel Embiid, and he only plays, 30, 35, 40 games. Like I'm just not giving up my future for that. But also in the same breath, it's like if I'm a contender, I'm considering it. If I'm trying to think of some teams that could possibly utilize a center that's not going to give up their future. Um, I don't know if Cleveland makes the call simply because they have Jared Allen and Mobley. Um, and it's unclear what they're going to do with Harden. But I don't know. Does a team like Orlando make a call? Boy, I still can't hear you, boy. You did not fix the problem. That brother's back, and the problem still exists.
Hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yeah, I got you now.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say before my mic went out. That's what I said. I said Orlando, depending on what they do with Wendell Carter, they choose to move on from him. Like I feel like Paulo can focus more on generating offense, while Embiid can be that kind of second option. Um, Depending on what they do with Franz and Anthony Black, of course. But like a team like that who's kind of in the middle, who Embiid can still feel like a starter and feel like he's contributing. But that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah. And another thing too is like I think he's gonna have to have an honest conversation with whatever front office about his contract because he's still getting paid like a superstar. When I think in reality he needs to take a pay cut or restructure the contract so to fit more like a Vucevic kind of contract.
Mm. Yeah,
So
we'll see.
or Chicago.
What does that do?
Does something for them. I mean,
Or
you
that
don't have any star
that
power.
that's similar to doggone Sacramento. The Wizards maybe move AD for MB. Play with
No,
Trey Young. You got Sar down there.
no, no.
He could,
Give
he
it.
could be the second option in Washington with Trey Young.
No, but the question is going to be health, and I think like what does that do for you? I don't think that makes you a contender. It's a
That's
lateral
why
move.
that's why I said MB for MB for AD, two injured players.
I still rather.
you're, not, you're not giving up too much. AD don't want to be there. He already said he don't want to be there.
You think Embiid wants to be there? No.
Hey man.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's move over to the Western Conference. I think some of the best series are over there. Let's start with the Lakers and Thunder. Um, I watched the game. What was it? 2 nights ago, and Honestly, like the Thunder, I text you about their culture. Like this guy Mitchell was, taking over while Shea was just on the bench, and even with Shea off, they still look like a contending team. And it just feels like no matter who they bring in there, like guys understand and believe, and they turn into decent players. Because I'm like the same way I felt about Kassan Wallace. I was like, man, this Mitchell guy, like, do you pay him? Like, what is it going to look like for them 4 or 5 years from now? But also too, the OKC was making a lot of great plays, and it felt big because they were in OKC. But you look down, and it's a 4 point game, and it's like a 5 point game. And I think we can talk about the refs and the whistle, but I think the Lakers strategy has been definitely worth noting because it feels like a blowout, but in reality, it's still in striking distance. And I feel like that's what JJ Redick is trying to do. Is he knows he's not going to just beat them straight up and blow them out, but as long as they can keep it close, you trust LeBron. And obviously, if you were to have a Luka in those last 5 to 7 minutes, that's where you bring them in to take over. So, what are your thoughts on that series and how you feel about Lakers moving forward?
Yeah, I think that series is over. I don't think the Lakers are going to do anything significant. They might get a game, but like you said, like every time you look down, it was close. But then Shea went to go sit down in the third quarter, and they took off.
Yeah.
They literally took off. So that just shows you the depth that they have. Like you said, the culture that they've built there, where anybody could step up at any moment. And you saw that. You saw that with Mitchell. Caruso's making some big plays. Um, Case and Wallace was making some big plays. Jared McCain was making some big plays. Like literally anybody could step up and make plays for them. So that's always good when you're talking about championship caliber teams and trying to win a championship. When your role players can step up and star in their roles, that's big. For the
Hmm.
Lakers, they I mean, good luck, bro. Like you gotta hope that Luca can come back at some point, but even then, it's like it's probably too late. So
Hmm.
get ready for next year. Mm, y'all had a good season.
Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna say the LeBron talk. For OKC, like, do you see like are they the favorites for you in the West, or do you see any glaring holes that potentially the Spurs or the Timberwolves could exploit?
Well, I mean, the Spurs have Wemby, and that's a problem in itself. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that they're a threat to OKC. But I don't think Minnesota's a threat to OKC. Yeah, I think Minnesota's cooked. They have their hands full with the Spurs. Both teams are deep though. I will say, like the Spurs and OKC, like if the Spurs role players are on, similar to OKC, like anybody could step up and make plays. So
Hmm.
I think that would be a good series. And it might actually come down to health. So we'll we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think OKC is too deep, and I feel like whoever is gonna be well, contingent. Same thing with OG. Contingent upon the Jalen Williams recovery. If he's back in the roster, I just there's just too much. Um, but like you said, Spurs have Wemby. That changes the dynamic of your offense. I mean your defense, um, and offense, honestly. But I feel like with OKC, the only thing that I can see is like there being an overcorrection with the ref's whistle because it was getting kind of out of hand. Just a lot of with the off ball whistles where you would have a couple on Rory for pushing, Hartenstein. I feel like the refs would try to overcorrect the whistle so that the whole conspiracy talk and all that refs involvement is kind of going away. And I feel that in terms of the play style, OKC they could hurt them a little bit. Um, I feel like with the Lakers right now, they're missing Luca, but they're also pretty old. And so the intensity of the young guys from OKC is just giving the Lakers a lot of trouble. And I think that LeBron looks good in spurts, but I think in terms of the entirety of the game, you can see the Lakers just wearing down. And the fact that OKC's star player can sit down for 5 to 6 minutes and be good, that's just going to continue to give them trouble for the rest of the series. So I do think it's over. So I guess that's a good segue for the Spurs Timberwolves series. I know that Timberwolves, AE, and Jaden is your team, but like them boys got Wemby. And I feel like, Wemby, I think he had 35, 39 last night. And it was like not even a loud 30 plus game. It was just like he was just operating within the normal cadence of the offense, and they were sitting him a lot. So the fact that he was able to do that, I just feel like in the same way you feel like this Lakers series is over, I feel like this series is over too with Spurs Timberwolves.
Yeah, it's definitely over. I wish that AE was like fully healthy. But I'm glad to see that he's at least out there trying to contribute. But the Spurs are just too much, bro. Like we talked about, like even the Timberwolves, like they got down what 15, and then they cut it down, came back in the game, and still ended up losing. So it's like, right at a certain point, you just have to understand that the other team is just better. They just have too much.
Yeah. And I think, like I told you before we started the call, it's like the fact that you can do an away screen for a 7 foot center. And there was even a play where I texted you where it's like he's bringing the ball up and Keldon Johnson is setting a screen for him and he's driving to the lane. It just really changes how you think about defensive coverage. What do you do? Because the other part is, he hasn't been as great from the 3 point line, but he still can shoot the three. So it's like, a Rudy has to play up on him and he can blow past you. So it's just like so much you have to think about. And then I think what's not really talked about on their team is the Champagnes, the Vassels, the guys who can get that kick out and knock it down. And so I hope that the Spurs Thunder series happens because it's going to be interesting because I think roster for roster they're kind of like neck and neck. So it's really going to come down to strategy and who wants it more. But yeah, I agree with you. Where do the Timberwolves go from here, especially if they get blown out, in this next game and it's over?
I don't know, bro. Like I still firmly believe that you try to keep Anthony Edwards and Jaden. So I mean, Julius, bye. Rudy, bye. I love Nas Reed, but Nas Reed, bye. Like anybody can go at this point, bro. Like you have to consider all options outside of AE and Jaden if I'm Minnesota.
Oh, so Jaden's untouchable too?
I would think so. Bruh, I don't think you let that defensive caliber of a player just walk. And he's showing you that he can score. I feel like he's shown throughout the playoffs that he can score. So maybe you give him the ball more, run more plays for him next year, move him up to hopefully a second option, maybe third. But I definitely think you have to consider moving Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, and Nas Reed for sure. And I
Yeah.
hate to say Nas because I like his game, but he just not cutting it right now, especially as a 6 man. Bro, I seen this man on the court. It was him and Gobert on the court. Bro, I need one of y'all to protect the rim.
But that's not
Like,
Nas' game
like
though.
bro, you too big for that, bro. I need something, bro. I need something on the defensive end, bro. As
That's
far
never
as far as protecting the rim. You down there, slide over, rotate, help, do something.
Yeah, but even at LSU, that was never his game. He was never a defensive stalwart. I think his ability to generate offense being what 6'9", 6'10", right?
Well, guess what? Bye. You can leave. We
Yeah, I
don't need
agree.
you.
Like I feel like it was one of those like there's a weird analogy, but stay with me. But it's like one of those guys where, in AAU, the guy who plays up and you're like, oh, that guy's only 16 and he's actually hooping when he comes into the game. And now when he's playing, with 18U and he is 18 and he just looks okay.
I feel like that's Nas Reed. Like when he was coming as a six man, it was like, oh man, like Nas is gonna get paid because he's coming in and contributing like a starter. And now when he's asked to come into that role, it's just like, okay, he's okay. He's decent. And that's just not enough because he's now getting paid, and I think is kind of below expectations now. Where before he was exceeding them because he wasn't getting paid that much.
Now you're getting paid with what they say, uh what's the saying? It's like great responsibility, like with
Yeah,
things that you're awarded and stuff. So it's like, bro, like you're getting paid now. Yes, you're not this defensive stopper, but bro, I need some defense.
yeah,
Like
and
the
I think
same the same way we telling Asar Thompson to go improve his jump shot, bro. I need you to improve your defense.
yeah, but I think defense is 85% about just effort. And then, after that, you can get into technique and whatnot. But I think it has to be a mentality to say, I'm going to compete on both ends because I think he could be a great two-way player. But I just don't think that was ever his mentality. Like every LSU game I watched him, like it was never like, oh my gosh, this guy's can be one of the best two-way players in the league. That was never a concern. It was
Well,
he
guess
could
what?
not agree.
Get it in your head.
It sounds good, but that's not people's mentalities. Like people's mentalities is like, man, I'm just gonna generate on offense and I'm gonna just be serviceable on defense. And now that he's gotten paid, that's not just gonna change, Hundo. That usually is a conversation you have to get paid. He's getting paid now, so it's like, why do I have to change my game?
Yep.
Trade me.
And that's exactly what's about to happen. Bye.
Yeah. So, okay, when do we have the conversation about AE? Like another year, another disappointing season, and honestly, they shouldn't have won. What
Disappointing season for who?
disappointing season for the Timberwolves? Like, I mean, even they were like what the 6th seed, I think. Like in terms of step up, like we talked about with the Knicks, they were going to the Western Conference Finals, and like now it's like it seems like there's a regression, and guys are getting older, and guys are gonna have to start getting paid. Yeah, you lost Dante DiVincenzo, but I feel like in terms of what Minnesota was 2 years ago, last year, we expected them the next step up to be finals contention, right?
Yeah, but they haven't made any moves.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, when do we have a conversation about AE being moved? Because I feel like we were talking about with him going to a potential Atlanta. I I don't see it progressing past this year. I feel like it's just slowly regressing.
Well,
Or
if
this,
you're the Timberwolves as an organization, you will hope it's not this summer. If you're the Timberwolves, now if you're AE, bro, we not making no moves. We not doing nothing crazy to make any changes to try to get over the hump. We clearly don't have enough to get over the hump. I want to leave. So maybe he does give them another offseason, this offseason, to try to make some moves. And if nothing happens, it wouldn't surprise me if he requested a trade. But I think he's probably going to give them another year to try to figure things out, try to make some moves this summer. And if anything, if nothing happens, he's probably going to be out of there.
yeah, I agree. I think, if Minnesota was honest with themselves, like this is the time, if not this year, next year, but it's like you got to think, if you're gonna sell high, this is kind of you probably get. I can't even imagine the kind of draft picks and quality talent that you would get for AE right now. But like you said, I think that Jaden McDaniels is a nice piece. And obviously, like with Terrence Shannon having a couple of good games under his belt, especially in the playoffs, I'm curious to know what his step up will look like next year. But the question becomes, is it enough? Like, do you go get a KD? Like, what moves can you make in order to actually be competing with the Spurs and Thunders? Because for the next half decade, that's who you're going to be competing against. And at what point is it just like, do I sell now and restart? Because what are we doing?
And also, I feel like you got to look at like how these teams are being constructed because like when you look at like the Thunder and the Spurs, like a lot of it was built through the draft. And now they're having to pay these guys X amount of money versus you look at somebody like the Timberwolves, drafted AE, you went out and you traded for Gobert, you went out and you got Julius Randle, not necessarily built through the draft. So
Yeah.
it's like maybe we have to have a conversation about how our roster is being constructed.
Yeah.
Because you
Right.
can still move those pieces and go get some draft assets or draft capital and start, I guess, in a sense, start over with AE and Jaden or whoever you decide to keep. But also on the other hand, is AE willing to go through a year of rebuild to get that, you know, higher draft pick, or they decide to move on from all these other players that's on the roster? I don't know.
No, because I think um AE still wants relevance. And like I think AE is the kind of guy where, depending on no matter what team he's on, he's still gonna be making special plays. But I feel like he's at this point in his career where he wants to start to think about legacy. He's gotten paid, everybody, he's on the map. But now is the question about rings, MVPs, and things like that. And so another rebuild means what? Because even if you rebuild, that's not guaranteed that you're going to actually end up being a contender. Some rebuilds have happened and you're still in the rebuild at Chicago. So it's just like I don't trust that Minnesota has the capabilities of building an elite roster, nor do I think that Minnesota is a free agent destination. So it's just like Atlanta. Look at Atlanta's rebuild compared to like Chicago's rebuild. I feel like Atlanta is a place where like you can surround yourself with good talent and people want to come to Atlanta. So it just depends on what he wants, what his values are, and what Minnesota is willing to do. Because I think if Minnesota was honest with themselves and looked in the mirror, now's the time. But that's a hard conversation to have with Minnesota fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, who's your finals pick at this point?
Matchup wise, or who I think is going to win it?
Who's going to win it?
I'm gonna go Spurs. I'm gonna go Spurs. I think the Spurs. I think the Spurs knock off the Thunder, and they gonna handle business in the finals.
Yeah, I agree. I have the Spurs. I actually feel more confident than my original Spurs pick, but like I think Wemby gets it done, and I feel like this is going to be the beginning of a dynasty. I just feel like the Spurs are too deep, and I think Wemby has the takeover. Everything I said, like I wish Evan Mobley had, I think Wemby has. And the crazy thing is like he's not playing the whole game, so I can't even imagine when Mitch Johnson decides to say, "Hey, you're going to be playing, the full 48 minutes," like what that's going to look like. So yeah, I think any team, if they could get past the Thunder, it's going to be Christmas for anybody in the East that has to play against the Spurs. So yeah. But tomorrow we got the draft lottery coming up. Obviously, this is going to be a potential franchise changer for a lot of teams. I guess like let's just do a little hypothetical. Who do you want to see get the number one pick out of the lottery teams?
Let me take a look at who all is in the lottery.
So looking at it, you got Washington, you got Indiana, Brooklyn, Jazz, Kings, Grizzlies, the Mavericks, Bulls, Warriors, and the Heat.
I would probably say Sacramento or Indiana. One of those two. I just feel like Sacramento is just trash, bro. Like you have to get some young talent, bro. Like why do you have DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and Sabonis and like still sorry? Like trade them, move on from them, and go young, and just invest in the young players, bro. So I would say Sacramento from that perspective, and then Indiana, you pair any of those top players with Tyrese Halliburton and Siakam, it's up.
Yeah, I just don't think Sacramento deserves the top pick because,
Why
like,
not? They've been sorry for years.
I just don't. But that was self-inflicted. You had Tyrese on your team. You traded away De'Aaron Fox. Like you chose to go, and then now you're looking for a point guard. It's like, what was the plan? There was no clear plan, and I feel like even with their draft picks now, like oh, what like you said, it's like where are we going or what is the plan here? And I feel like whatever top pick goes there, it's gonna be darkness for a while because I don't think the front office is as invested in that first round pick than any other team. So that's why my team, for me, I want to see Atlanta get a number one pick. I feel like that's the most interesting team with a top pick because what do you do? Because I think there's a myriad of options you can go, but I feel like because of this last series with the Knicks, it kind of exposed Jalen Johnson a little bit, and I don't know if he's necessarily ready to be a franchise changer. I feel like he's going to be a decent piece. So it's like, do you go AJ? Do you go with Darren Peterson? Or do you go with Cam Boozer? To get an athletic big to kind of go with what they're trying to do is run it up and down and, scoring transition. So, yeah, a lot more storylines with the Hawks.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. Is there a player in the draft, right? Well, in the, draft candidacy that you're excited to see come into the league or most excited about?
I'm interested to see like what position they put Boozer at and where he lands.
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't have the best 3-point shot, but like he's also like not the biggest dude to be like banging down low consistently. So I'm interested to see where he lands and what position he plays. But also AJ. I feel like he's been the top guy in the past few years, even coming out of high school. So I'm interested to see how he pans out in the league.
Yeah. I think for me, like I like Darius Cup's game. I'm curious to know how it's going to translate into the league because I think he's one of those players that, like, yes, he has the aura and stuff, but I think the location matters in terms of where he lands. Because I think he can contribute. It just depends on the playing style, who's he surrounded with. But another player that not too many people are talking about is Jackson Lindenberg, because I saw a mock the other day. People are forgetting like OKC still has a top pick, and like they had him mocked to OKC, and I think that was an interesting dynamic because I think out of all the guys, based on potential, like he has a lower ceiling, but I think he can contribute right now. And so his versatility and what he displayed at Michigan is like him being able to knock down the three, but him also being tall enough to, create a lot of mismatches down low. I'm curious to know, like, where he ends up because I feel like for a contender, like, okay, so you have so many people stashed away and young guys on your team. He's the kind of guy where it's like you don't have to worry about any development of potential. He is what he is. And I think that can be a consistent scorer and a decent role player.
And you're not asking him if he ends up at OKC. He's not going to be a top option.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Like he's going to be a role player. So I mean, perfect, perfect piece to add to the puzzle in a sense.
Yeah, and he's the only player in the top picks that is not going to be asked to be a franchise player. Like he's not going to be the face of the franchise at any team, and I think he's okay with that. So,
and I hope teams know that.
Right.
because somebody might try to get him thinking that he could be that, and that's just not him, and that's okay.
Especially at his age now, because there's no point. It's like I don't think he has I don't think he has that much more development to go, because it's like this is who he is, and I think it's still a decent player, but I don't see him changing, in the next 4 to 5 years.
That's real.
So yeah. What else you got? You got anything else you want to talk about?
These overrated players, man. They're overrated. Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Your boy Sengun.
Yeah, so I guess before we talk about the actual list, give me your top 5 overrated players in the league right now. I want to hear Hundo.
Let's see. Now think about this one. Jalen Brunson. Donovan Mitchell. Devin Booker.
Some of these you're gonna have to stop and explain, because like
who else? That's 3. Who am I missing that I think is overrated? I don't know, but I'll explain these 3. I can't think of 2 more, but I'll explain these 3 for sure. I'll start with Devin Booker.
Okay.
He's a loser. Plain and simple. Like, bro, you decided to go back to Phoenix, and yes, y'all made the playoffs, but like, bro, what are you truly trying to do there? Great scorer, can score. I don't think he's a first option, a top option dude that's going to bring you a championship.
Okay.
So that's why I think he's overrated. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. Great scorer. As we see right now, like, pressure's on, bro. You're not doing anything. Like, you're about to get swept by the Pistons.
Okay.
And Jalen Brunson, I just don't like the way he plays. Too much ISO ball, too much hero ball. Bro, pass the ball. Swing the ball around. Can he lead the Knicks to a championship? It might not be this year. I just think he's overrated. Good player, but I mean, trying to win championships here.
That's a decent list. See, for me, I'm gonna go Brandon Ingram 1. 2, Ja. And 3, I feel like I could put Jaren Jackson on that list, but I'm not gonna put 2 Grizzlies. Well, previous Grizzlies on that list. So,
oh wow, I just thought of one, but
3, I'm gonna actually go.
Oh, I got another one. Sabonis. Because, brother, what are you doing? You were supposed to be baby Jokic. Now you just riding away in Sacramento.
3, I'm actually go Trae Young.
Trae Young?
Yeah, I think he's overrated, bro. Like, I think he makes a lot of dazzling plays, but the Hawks moved off of him for a reason. They look better without Trae Young, and I just feel like the conversations that he's in, I just don't necessarily think that his production and even just the winning mentality follows him. So it's gonna be interesting to see if he turns Washington around. But I think that he's okay.
Okay.
Not saying that he can't score. We get that. I've seen him at Oklahoma, guys. But I think it has to be, in terms of the conversations that we're trying to put him in, I think there has to be more that he has to do to get in those conversations. And speaking of Ja, this is a do or die year for Ja, because I feel like he's gonna be 3 years in where he hasn't played a full season, And back to that conversation he had with Taylor Rooks about he's fine with everybody in the West. Well, ever since he said that, it's just been downhill. So I think if he gets traded, like this is the difference between him turning his career around versus him being the beginning of a journeyman. And I feel like for what he provides, I don't necessarily know how many teams are going to be bought into that outside of just his flashy dunks and stuff like that. But just in terms of real value, I feel like he has to prove himself this year.
I got another person for you.
All right.
Jordan Poole.
But do you feel like some of that is because the Pelicans are dysfunctional and had no direction with him, and he wasn't actually getting a chance to like play at all? Or are you saying just because
And he put up garbage numbers in Washington.
And he can't help that.
And finessed, got paid, finessed, and now he's on the Pelicans, not doing anything, still finessing. Jordan Poole.
Oh, I got one. No, this should have been my number one. LaMelo Ball. For sure.
LaMelo?
LaMelo's overrated, bro. I guarantee you, Charlotte would never win a finals as long as he's there. And he, honestly, bro, like the production, it seems cool, but it's just like when you look at him on the court, I just feel like they just need more grown-ups on that team. And I feel like they're starting to do that with Khan. But like I told you last year, like I think that Charlotte should have traded him. That was the start of the rebuild. But as long as they keep him on the roster, I just can't take them seriously. So yeah, that's my number one player.
I'm surprised you didn't say your boy Mobley.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with Mobley is just he's getting paid like a max player. So like I think everybody in the league agrees that he's kind of like underperforming. But like even out of USC, I never saw like a takeover gene. Like I think that he is who he is. I just think that the Cavs were dumb for paying him that much money because he's not it. He's a decent piece, but it's like kind of like a higher version of Sar. That's what I see with him. And like I don't think that's worth a max contract. So he's definitely on the list. It's not even, I think the NBA community agrees that he's not top 15. Yep. Who's better, Jaren Jackson or Evan Mobley?
I'm gonna take Mobley, me personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like Jaren's had like a bigger I wouldn't say platform, but like a opportunity to show that he could be a second option type player. I don't think Mobley has had that opportunity yet.
Yeah. Do you feel like I know how you feel about Book, but like with another year with Jalen Green, obviously they made a plan this year, but like Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, I don't know if they have a first round pick this year, but do you see like them continuing to progress into that, from play-in to playoffs, or do you feel like they're still just going to kind of be around the play-in next year? And what do you do? Because D Book, like, he's not going to request a trade, bro. I feel like he's comfortable in Phoenix.
And that's the problem. He needs to. Because, bro, you're not, despite how good Dylan Brooks played this year, you're not getting much for him. I'm not going to hold you. Jalen Green, you could probably move him and do something. But, like, bro, like, I still don't think you're winning anything with Devin Booker as the first option. Like, I'm standing on that, bro. As long as he's there, they're going to continue to not win anything. Like, I I don't see them being a top 4 team in the West at any point with Devin Booker as the top option.
I agree.
I don't think they're in the conversation to make it out the West. Period. I don't think they're going to progress. I feel like you have to Devin Booker.
Speaking of which, I got another player, Jalen Green.
That's who I was going to say. Who I was going to say. That was the other player I was going to say. But when you said same team, I was like, oh, okay, never mind. That's who I was going to say, though.
Jalen Green, for sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's like, man, you put the time clock back 5 years ago. We were like, man, this could be the beginning of a dynasty. I think 5 years ago was when they had the Ayton, Paul, Book, Monty Williams, like Mikal Bridges. It was like, man, Phoenix is such a great organization. Now look.
Hey, everybody left except Book.
That's true.
Why are you still there? Loser. Because you're a loser. That's why. Because you're a loser.
He sees himself as the franchise cornerstone and is getting paid as such.
And you're losing.
Yeah, but he don't care because every Thursday when he looks at his
and like I said earlier, he gonna get on a podcast after his career and talk about what could have been.
He was held back.
I don't want to hear that from you. You're a loser. Yeah. I had an opportunity to join the Rockets. I had an opportunity to join the Nuggets. I had an opportunity to join the Spurs.
Yeah.
Shut up. You're a loser. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. He gonna join a podcast either this summer or next summer, whenever his career is over, and talk about what could have been. Brother, you took the money. I don't want to hear from you.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I can't even deny, like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm thinking about top 5 shooting guards right now in the league, and it's like AE clearly. Like, I don't think Devin Booker's on that list, honestly. Like, I want to put him on the list, but like you said, it's just like,
well, who you putting on there? AE. Who else? Donovan, I assume.
Donovan.
Okay.
I feel like Jaylen Brown.
Okay. 3.
Like, right now, you could put him on that list, but like, I'm just saying in terms of health, but like, I would put Jalen Williams up there. Would you not?
I guess. I mean, I don't really view him as a 2, but I mean, I guess.
What do you say 3?
Yeah, I feel like he's more of a like 3. 3/ undersized 4. Me personally. But I mean, if you consider him a shooting guard, cool.
Yeah, and then you have a conversation about, does Austin Reeves belong on that list right now? You could say yes. And then Devin.
Yeah, I feel like he's top 5 right now. He's in like that 4 to like 7, 8 range.
Yeah. Is Devin better than, well, no. Was Desmond Bane on that list?
I wouldn't consider him top 5, me personally.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm not missing anybody.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through these teams now. Utah don't have nobody. Sacramento don't have nobody. Memphis don't have nobody. Dallas don't have nobody. New Orleans don't have nobody. Golden State don't have nobody. Clippers don't have nobody. Portland. What position do you consider Denny? 2 or 3?
I would say 3.
Okay. Houston, Amin Thompson. I don't think he's top 5.
Yeah, he's not in Book's category, in my opinion. He can get there.
Lakers got AR, Denver, nobody. San Antonio, Castle.
Castle, yeah, I was about to say, is Castle shooting guard?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you just put him on PG?
No, I would probably put Fox at PG for them. Fox or Harper at the 1. I'll probably say he's a 2. Castle is a 2.
Is Maxey a 2? Or is he playing a 1?
No, I say the 1. I view him as a point guard.
Yeah, I think we got the list right. I mean, Derry White, no.
Brandon Miller.
I feel like Brandon Miller is more of 3.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're probably gonna go Melo, Collin.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Collin. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he's probably top 5. I would say he's top 5.
Yeah. Okay. Is he? Wait, him a hero?
I forgot about Hero, but I would probably take him over Hero.
Okay. Yeah, we got the list right now.
Book or Spider?
Spider. Spider. I think Spider's done more or less, and I think, I mean, just off of even last year's postseason, like he got farther and he did more when Darius didn't show up. Mobley was non-existent. Yeah, I think he's had more big moments.
Okay.
Jaylen Brown is Spider.
Jaylen Brown, easily. I just said Spider was overrated.
Oh yeah, you did. You did. Yeah. Now, granted, we know the circumstances are going to change, but like, I guess my last question is, out of the guys, the top guys that you see in the draft this year, like, who do you think can like have the most immediate impact?
I feel like a lot of it depends on where they land, but
I'm gonna actually say your guy. I think Cam Boozer can have immediate impact, especially wherever he lands, because I think he's versatile enough where, kind of like what he did at Duke, I feel like he can knock down the 3. I feel like he can create mismatches. I don't think it's going to be a Wemby-like impact, but I think kind of the same actions I can see happening with Boozer. And I think that he's still a big guy, so I think he can definitely still get you a double-double, average double-double in his first year.
I'm gonna say Darren, just because his ability to score. Like the times that I saw him play when he was playing, like nobody could mess with him on the court.
Yeah.
Like he was by far the best player on the court whenever he stepped on the court. I think that's gonna translate. Like I feel like he knows what he is, and I feel like whoever drafts him knows what he is. It's like you're not gonna be trying to figure out what he is or what he does best. It's like he's a bucket getter. You're gonna give him the ball, go do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he's the most polished prospect that I've seen. Obviously, now granted, people have the conspiracies about NIL and stuff like that, but I think it's really gonna come down to health and just availability.
Yeah, that too. I mean, yeah, of course, but like, we'll see. I mean, shoot, he gave Kawhi 2.0 vibes in college, so hopefully he's able to play.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it wasn't until Kawhi's like 3rd year that he started to become that, because his first couple years, like, he was a menace and he was playing consistently, and like I worry Kawhi became that. Darian's coming into the league like that, So, especially if he goes to a terrible organization that he doesn't want to, clearly doesn't want to be there. I wonder if that same Kansas mentality happens where he goes and kills, but it's like he's with the Brooklyn Nets and they're playing against the Grizzlies on Tuesday night. I feel like he'd probably be like, bro, why? I want to play meaningful basketball.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
So,
see. Hopefully it was legit injuries and not him just being bogus and whatever. But we'll see. Hopefully he can stay healthy.
yeah, but my thing is like there was games where he didn't play 1 week because of an injury, and then played that weekend and he killed. So it's like,
and then this man not even playing in like a specific half. Like he might play the first half.
right.
Like, bro, what you got going on, bro?
That's what I'm saying. And that's what was frustrating, because it's like you're killing and then you're just saying I need to take a break. And it's like, you think the NBA is going to be easier? Like, and I think you have guys like a Dyson Daniels and a Sar and a Min Thompson who can take you out of games. So it's like you're gonna have to generate that same kind of offense, especially if he goes to a terrible organization where he's the focal point. You have to get beyond them and still produce at the same level you're producing. I feel like we can go down at least half of the league. You have a guy who can be dedicated to take you out. So I'm curious to know, body type wise, if he's strong enough and quick enough to, consistently do that night to night. Because I mean, I think Amen Thompson can move laterally just as well as you can. So those are yeah. But that's it, brother. We got a lot of WNBA games on today, along with the NBA games that's starting at 3 and 8:30. Just real quick, I know you and John did a WNBA podcast. How did you feel like opening night went for the WNBA?
I think it went good. I was watching that Toronto Temple and Mystics game. It was some interesting hoops, some bad basketball at some points. But it turned out to be a decent game. Liberty smacked the Connecticut Sun. I don't think the Sun is gonna be good. If you saw the WNBA episode we did, I had the Sun being the worst team in the league this year, and they looked like it against the Liberty, who I thought would be the best team in the league. So we'll see. And then the night game was the Valkyries and the Storm. Storm got a few injuries down low right now, so we'll see how they look once they get fully healthy. But Valkyries looked pretty solid last night.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, who are you most excited to see in this WNBA season?
I'm interested to see CC. See if she could be healthy this year and how far Indiana can go. Because we saw her rookie year, she finished 4th in MVP voting as a rookie. So fully healthy, played all the games. So shoot, if she is fully healthy this year, it's gonna be interesting to see how they look, because they took the Aces to deep waters last year in the playoffs without CC. So with her, we're gonna see what they can do.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats right now versus the Tempo and Mystics. So Lauren Betts got 0 points, 1 assist, and 5 rebounds.
Yeah. Yeah. She gonna have to step it up for sure. But Shakira had a good game. Kiki had a good game. They're both playing in front of her right now. I think Lauren was coming off the bench. But I think she'll give them good minutes throughout the season, but definitely gonna be some growing pains.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. That's it from us. We're gonna have more content coming your way. Obviously, we have the rest of this NBA playoffs happening, so we promise to get more content to you from that perspective. Like Hundo said, go check out that WNBA content. Him and John are doing a great job with covering what's happening in the WNBA. We got more college content coming your way. I'm going to do an episode for the the NBA draft, which is happening tomorrow, the NBA draft lottery, excuse me, so don't get confused. But NBA draft is coming up, so we'll definitely preview that. If you like to read our content, go to our Substack. We'll be posting more articles for you to actually interact with. And always be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share this with somebody who doesn't know about Winning Shot but loves sports, because we want you to comment. We want to hear your takes, because if you bogus, we'll call you out. And we're going to have some live episodes. That's what Hundo and John said. We're going to have some live episodes where you're coming onto the show and we're going to hear from you and debate with you, because we just love doing this and love to spread the gospel even through sports. So, like, as always, we thank you for sticking around with us for about 2 hours talking about NBA content. And if there's any content you want us to talk about, y'all let us know. So, as always, peace.
Peace.